Hey boys, welcome back to some more Nrl Supercoach. It's going to be the round 23 preview, and we're going to go through the team list. We're going to go through some of the mini carnage that's happened, and also trade plans that have now shifted slightly, although it was sort of expected even last week. And talk about our full strength, who to sit start, because that'll be another tough decision as well. And then we'll talk about captain, vice captain. So first off, the major news coming out from team list is, well, Holmes was found guilty. I mean, I got to be honest, I would have been very shocked if he got the charge downgraded. So he's gone. And I mean, it's not good, but it's all right. I mean, it sort of makes my decision for me. I mean, it would have been nice to keep Ponga because he was, not Ponga, fucking Holmes. It would have been nice to keep Holmes, obviously, if he was playing the rest of the season, because he turned into a pretty decent pod. Now, I'm sure a lot of people jumped back on when he started scoring well over Origin, but he still got a bit out of reach for a lot of people, and he was scoring. He was going gangbusters, so it is annoying, but it does allow me to now get into genuine keepers that I've have sort of been the bane of our Supercoach season thus far. The other big one, well, it's not really big, it doesn't really affect it either way, but Jared Croker has been dropped, I think, or injured. I'm not too sure because I don't think he was even on the extended bench, so I don't really know what's happened with Croker. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not shocked that if he did get dropped. I think Seb Chris is in the centers, and Jordan Rapana has gone to fullback. I mean, Croker, when he came back in, and for a good couple of months there, he looked great. Well, he looked good. Like, he was really solid. He just provided a bit of experience in that Raiders team. But I think, just the season sort of caught up to him, and he struggled in the last few weeks. I mean, his scores have obviously dipped, and also his form. So he's out of the team. He might just be an injury. I'm not too sure. But regardless, it doesn't really affect me because, I mean, it was probably a good thing, because if I wasn't going to trade him, which we probably were, but if I wasn't going to, he wasn't going to stink up our AE, and he's not going to lose more cash, so that's fine. But it does also make the decision now to get rid of Croker easier as well. So the big decision going forward is, do we use, because the plan that I guess has been thrown out the window, although it was a bit of a loose plan. The plan before the Holmes incident was going Croker straight up to Chance Nickel Klokstad, which was, I can still do. It still works out beautifully. We can still do it. But Holmes does have to go as well. Again, we don't have to trade Holmes this week, but he's 765k. You obviously don't want that just sitting on your pine. You want to use the cash. He's not going to lose cash. You're not going to make cash, but you don't want to, we're getting to the back end of the season. You don't want to miss out on a premium center wing option, especially with some of the matchups this weekend. There are some very, very juicy targets to get in. So you don't want that sitting there. So the plan originally, Croker out to Klokstad, and then save the two trades for issues. If injuries, suspensions, or even just the last round of the season, if there were restings. But the fact now, I do think that there's not really much point in not trading both of them, right? I was sort of umming and ahhing about it, because I was like, I still got the depth there. Because let's just do this quickly, right? So let's just do what we're going to do. This was always going to be our, one trade we did. Where is he? Chance comes in. So we got the cash. Works out beautifully. 32k in the bank. Fucking really, again, why does this keep doing that? It keeps logging me out fucking mid video. I don't know why it keeps doing it. Fucking Supercoach, dude. Alright, we're back here. So yeah, Croker get out for where is he? Where's he gone, dude? Where's he gone? Oh my word. Go highest price. I just had him before. He's evaded me. What is he? 690. There he is. Chansey going gangbusters. This is going to be the trade. We planned it nicely. Honestly, we planned it pretty well. Croker still lost a good amount of cash, but we did enough to be able to afford him. So it worked out nicely. And if we look, so this week, obviously we'll just get rid of Holmes for now. We bring in Klokstad. That's beautiful. And even, I mean, these four, so Manu against Manly, I don't hate. Garrick against Roosters, also I don't hate. Johnston, we would play against the Sharks. So the centre wing is still really strong, but there's just so many good options to trade out. And, you know, Ty Munro, as I guess the other news with Ty Munro, he's, what is he, 18th man for the Rabbits? So he might come in, but if he doesn't, you know, he's a player down. I mean, we got Ronnie there as well for cover, but we're apparently, you know, we could be a couple of centre wing down regardless. Our fullbacks, we got the cover. I mean, I don't, obviously, again, injuries, like if 5 injuries happen, we're stuffed anyway, but like restings or something, like again, Mitchell and Tedesco playing the last round against each other, surely none of them are going to get rested in that game. The Rabbits have the bye the previous week, so Tedesco covers Mitchell. And Mitchell has that bye, so he'll be fresh for the next game regardless. And then if Tedesco, for whatever reason, rests, then we got Mitchell. 5'8", so Cody Walker, same as Mitchell. Kalen Ponga, he'll cover, obviously, Walker for their bye. And then, again, the Knights are going to be pushing for the top 8. They're not going to fucking rest Ponga. Again, could cop an injury. If it happens, it happens. But then Ponga's not going to get rested, really. Our halfbacks. Now, okay, so before we get into the Homes, don't get me wrong, I've been somewhat tempted to potentially go Nico Hines to Sean Johnson instead of trading out Holmes, but it doesn't really make any sense to do that, really. I think trading... I can understand why people are doing it, but at the same time, I do think it's a fairly sideways trade. I know Johnson has an incredible run home, and Hines' run is a bit up and down, but Hines is averaging 94 with a 22 in his average now. I mean, I can't really see Johnson averaging that much more for the run home compared to Hines. I wouldn't be shocked if Hines outscores Johnson at the end of the next 5 games or whatever it is. I wouldn't be shocked. Like, the Warriors are a team that can play some, they've had, the Warriors got to play the Broncos with none of their players. They lost pretty badly. They got to play the Rabbits with literally nobody, and they lost badly. They played pretty shocking. So the Warriors aren't infallible. Like, I can see the Warriors, I mean, even against the Titans this week, they could put a score on, but I could also see the Titans turn up and the Warriors not go as well as people expect. So I can see why people are doing it, but personally, I think it's pretty sideways and a bit of a wasted trade. And for me, it just makes no sense because we obviously will just trade out Holmes because Hines is playing, Holmes is not. Also for restings, again, I mean, Cleary, sure. I mean, the fact that he's been out for so long with that hamstring, I wouldn't expect Cleary to get rested in the final round. He might. I mean, I think, yeah, last year I know Ivan rested like the majority of their guys, but like, they're going to be, like, if Broncos keep winning, they're going to be vying for the minor premiership, which is a pretty big thing. Like, they don't want to lose it. Nico Hines surely isn't going to get rested. I mean, the Sharks, they need to start winning. Our back row, anything could happen, I guess. But we got cover. Even Piacora, in a pinch, he wouldn't be a bad option to play if he stays in the starting team. So we got genuine players. Our front row, it looks a bit weak because we got the two basic nuffs here, but we also have Tohu Harris, who we can just swing into the front row. So we got 3 genuine front row forward options as well. So I think we're pretty covered there. And again, barring an injury, I can't see Tarpany or Horsburgh getting rested because, again, they're vying for the top 8. Tohu Harris is a bit of a worry just with their forward depth and how well they're going. Like, I don't know. Playing Tohu Harris is a bit of a worry. Maybe just, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how many minutes he plays going forward, but I just don't think we have the luxury to really trade Harris out anyway. And then dummy halves, we're covered. Thankfully, it probably worked out well that we didn't end up nuffing Cook, because the dummy half potentially could have been an issue for us going forward if something happened and we had enough there. But Cook, like Mitchell, like Walker, he'll have the bye and then play the final round. And then Harry Grant will cover Cook. And then if he, for whatever reason, gets rested, then we have Cook as cover. So I think overall, barring a catastrophe, I think having one trade, which is it's not what I wanted. Don't get me wrong. I didn't want one trade for the remaining three rounds or whatever it is. Or 4 rounds, but I think we should be okay. I think we should be okay. And at the end of the day, Holmes has got to go. He's not going to play until the finals anyway, and Croker has got to go as well. So that's I guess our little emergency that happened just a little bit earlier than the final couple of rounds. And if something else happens, then it is what it is. But I think that's what we're going to end up doing. Now, this is where it gets good, but it also gets tricky, because we can afford anybody, which is chef's kiss, absolutely beautiful. We got the whole budget to work with here. There's some damn good options, but it's sort of like they all sort of negate each other, right? So Greg Marju, it's only 19%, but I know Marju in like the top couple of K, like he's very, very heavily owned. Like he's probably like 80% or something. So most of the top people own Marju, and obviously he would be a great get. Like the Knights have a very good run coming up. Sensational. Zach Lomax has turned it around, but I just wouldn't. There's no reason to take the punt on Lomax when you got Marju there, because again, like I'm gonna get to the point, but someone like okay, we'll talk about it now. Bradman Best v Greg Marju, right? They're pretty similar price. Obviously, you save a little bit with Best, and also if we go down, Dane Gagai, also a little bit cheaper, 1.8% and 2% for Best, right? Real super pods. But at the end of the day, it's either one or the other. And is Dane Gagai and Bradman Best actually going to score more over the next 4 weeks than Greg Marju? Because it's all well and good. Like, Greg Marju could come out and get 80, right? Everybody has him, so they all get 80. Bradman Best and Gagai could come out and get 70 to 80 as well. And you're like, oh, he's a super pod, so I got the 80 points and other people didn't. But I didn't have Marju, so it's like it negates itself. Same with Dallin Wateni-Lesniak, right? So he's a little bit more owned, but still super pod territory. Now, he could come out and go gangbusters, but again, is he going to score more than Marju? I don't know. Like, it's like, is it really worth going the super pod when you've got a guy that's so heavily owned in Greg Marju, who basically, he's probably going to score the same. Like, he probably doesn't have the ceiling, because for whatever reason, Marju, he'll be on like 80 points in like half time, and then, I don't know, he just doesn't score any more points in the game. But he always looks like he's about to get 150, but it doesn't happen. Because if you look at his scores, it's fantastic. But his high score, he got 138, but most of them 122, 102. He started the year well after missing a couple of games. 138, 102. But he's not one of those guys who goes 140 plus, right? Dallin has shown he can, but Dallin also has lower scores in his game, right? Because if you look at his scores overall, yeah, he's got that 175 and 128, but then he's also got a 23, he's got a 29, he's got a 38, he's got a 36. Greg Margie doesn't really do that. Like, again, it's like, it's negligible. It's very negligible. Dallin might go massive. He might get 150 and Marju might go 80. But then the next week, Dallin gets like 40 and Marju gets 80 again, right? So it sort of evens it out. And it's like, is it really... I guess one factor is the price, because I will have one trade left. And I guess at the end of the day, we would like to have some money potentially if needed, because if we're stuck and we can't afford to go anyone good, I mean, it could be fun. You take a really punt on someone who's cheaper, but ideally we'd like some cash in the bank just to be able to afford someone better if something happens to someone else. But I guess the other guy, Brian Toto, as well, very similar to Marju, honestly. I like Toto. I actually really like Toto, but I got to be honest, he is a bit more of a worry just because of the potential resting in the last round of the season, because he definitely could get a rest. Like, it happened last year. I know I talked about Cleary. I don't think he will, but he did do it last year with most of their guys. So Toto, if he misses the last game of the season, it's going to be a real kick in the guards. Marju, you wouldn't expect would miss any games, because again, the Knights are going to be vying for the top 8. They can't really afford it. And Toto's obviously gone pretty consistently the last month or so. He still hasn't been at his absolute best, but they've got a pretty good draw. That's the other thing that's not Melbourne, I think, is still pretty good. Melbourne defensively have not been great. Manly is pretty good. Gold Coast pretty good. Parramatta Cowboys, it's okay. Like, it's good for Penrith. I mean, Penrith are going to be good against any team, but Marju's draw is better. Let's not kid ourselves. I mean, they've got the Dolphins. I feel like having the Dolphins this week is just too good to pass up. Ponga is just in such good form. They got Dolphins, Bulldogs, South, Sharks, Dragons. Like that's a good draw. That's a very good draw. I know Dallin. I mean, the Warriors also have the Warriors probably do pip the Knights for their draw, because obviously the Gold Coast, but the Gold Coast can be okay. The Tigers, funnily enough, are actually not the worst defensively, but they probably are worse on the edges, so it probably negates for the outside backs. The forwards against the Tigers probably don't do as well, but the outside backs probably do better. Manly, Dragons, Dolphins, so it's similar, but probably a little better. But again, it is almost 100k difference. And I guess the other factor is, like, obviously everybody owns, like, most people own Chansey and Marju, but do most people own them together? I'm sure a lot of people do, but it's probably less. Like, it's obviously less someone owns both of them than only just one of them, right? So even if it's not a pod to get one or the other, if you have both of them, as well as having fucking Manu, Garrick, Johnston, Mulatalo, like, it's a pretty strong outside back bloody rotation. And then anyone else, I mean, again, like Brian Kelly, super pod, but what's the point? What's the point? Even Campbell Graham, dude. I mean, I wouldn't go Graham because he's got a bye coming up. Dom Young hasn't been. He can score tries, but I wouldn't bother. Even like someone like where is he? Suoli, I don't hate. Like, if I had more trades, then yeah, Suoli at the price, he could be good, but he's not going to score more than Marju or Dallin. So I think for now, I could change and I could just go... I could really go hard on the Warriors, which I don't hate, but I think the Knights also... I think Knights and Warriors are just fucking... You got to target, and I think Marju was just... He's just so solid, and I hate not owning him. He pisses me off. Just the way, man, people just can't tackle him. I'm not surprised. He's an absolute monster, and he'll just make line breaks from kick returns. Like, he'll just bust through from nowhere. Like his lowest score, 39. Is that his lowest score? Yeah, 39 is his lowest score. He got 69 against Penrith, for God's sakes. And then 42 against Penrith is fucking elite. That is elite for a centre against Penrith. That is insane. Compared to pretty much every other player taking on Penrith. And then, because who's he got? Dolphins. Has he versed Dolphins? No. Doggies, he got 92. Rabbits, hasn't played yet. Sharkies, he got 49 against the Sharks, but obviously the Sharks have hit a bit of a wall, and the Knights are coming home strong. And then the Dragons, has he not scored either? But I just, at the moment, I'm leaning towards Marju. Saving the money, I could convince myself to go Dallin and save the 100k for a potential upgrade in the last couple of rounds, but yeah, I don't know. I might change, but I just like having Marju. Honestly, I would like both of them. I would like all of them, but I gotta be honest, dude. My team is looking stacked. Like, it's a good team now. So this is where it gets fucking tricky now, because we have to play Marju. Jesus Christ, who do I not play? Johnston, maybe. I mean, the fact, but Latrell Mitchell's back. I feel like with Latrell and Cody Walker, you got to play Johnston, right? You got to play him. The Sharkies, I do think the Sharks are going to turn up and play better, but defensively, they're not great. Garrick, Manu, do you not play Manu? I feel like you got to play Manu, but you got to play Marju. Like, Marju's got to come in. So, at the moment, out of these guys, fuck, I don't know. I mean, how the fuck? The Roosters are favourites against Manly. I mean, this is a tough game to pick. I'm probably leaning towards Manly. Garrick, at the moment, I go Garrick. I just think Garrick's a bit more solid, and I feel like there's a big game coming for him. Latrell, yes, we're obviously playing Latrell. Tedesco, yes. I mean, I'm definitely playing Tedesco. Centers there. Definitely playing Ponga. Definitely playing Walker. Definitely playing Cleary. Definitely playing Hines. Yeah, you play Hines. A lot of people are selling Hines, but you got to play Hines. I think the Rabbits still aren't in great form. And, I mean, Hines in the past, because let's have a quick gander. I feel like every time Hines is at a low score, he comes out and goes big the next week. So if we look, I mean, he doesn't have too many low scores. At 40 against Dolphins, and he came out, got 98, which is probably, I mean, it's average for him. He got 43 against Melbourne, then got, I mean, it's a little bit deceiving because, it's against the Dogs, Dragons, Tigers. 72 against Warriors, 86 against Manly. What are you getting against Rabbits? Has he not played the Rabbits yet? You gotta play Hines, I think. It'd be crazy not to. Our second row, God, it's tough. Oh man, it's tough. I think Cook, no, we're definitely not playing Cook. He could come out and go big, but I think Cook is an easy fade. We got Tarpany, we got Horsburgh. Fafita, obviously. Cartwright. against Dragons, yeah, I like that matchup. Cartwright's looking really good. Johnny Bateman has fallen off the boil, but it's against the Raiders, man. I really like Bateman against the Raiders. But I guess the flip side, I mean, the Raiders are probably going to be pretty fired up to get into him. And I feel like I don't think Bateman's going to go massive, so I think playing him over like a Nakora is a bit silly. Or even a Harris. You could play Harris against, but Harris lately, his minutes have been down, so I'm not that keen for Harris. He might come out and play 80 minutes and go gangbusters, but at the moment I'm leaning that. And I guess this way we can do it like this. Yeah, so Tedesco, Manu, Walker, Hines. So we're sitting, we were sitting Ronnie, that's fine. We're sitting Bateman, Harris, Piacora, and Cook. I mean, we got pretty good depth now, so I'm pretty happy. It's the worst part of having good depth is that it makes the decision very hard. And at the end of the day, it's just throw at it's a throw at the dartboard. Like, it's just luck. It's just luck. You can go on matchups, you can go on who what they've done in the past, but you don't know. I mean, Harris, he could get 40 minutes, he could get 80. You don't know. He's obviously carrying niggles, but he's one of those guys who just come out to go big. Bateman, against his old club, he could score a try, he could set one up. You never know. Ronnie could go in for a hat-trick against the Rabbits. It's not out of the question. Damien Cook could run through the middle. Anything can happen. It's one of those weeks, I'm not gonna lie, it's one of those weeks where I'm like, I would love someone like a fucking, I don't know, a couple of players just to get ruled out. just to screw with people that don't have great depth. But I think that's what we're leaning towards. And then captaincy, vice captains. I haven't really looked at this, but obviously our big boys, Mitchell, Chansey, Marju, Ponga, Cleary. Who are they versing? So, yeah, I mean, Warriors against Gold Coast. So Chans is clearly a good potential vice captain. Penrith against Melbourne. I mean, vice captain on Cleary is very nice as well. You could go vice on Clockstad, Captain Cleary, but then, I mean, Ponga against Dolphins. Oh man, surely you've got to go. Oh god, do you go? Vice captain Ponga, captain Latrell. No, I feel like the Sharks are gonna pick it up. Do you go captain Ponga, vice Cleary? I mean, going captain Ponga is a little bit nervous, even against the Dolphins, just because their head knocks. It is the one thing that could really fuck up our season if we cop a terrible captaincy, which I hate. I hate that the whole season comes down to captain, vice captains, but that's the way they do it. But I'm leaning towards that. I feel like if you got Cleary, even against the Storm, I feel like you got to put the vice captaincy on him. It's a shame not having like a vice captaincy on Latrell, because I feel like Latrell and Ponga are probably the two guys that can just go absolutely mad against the teams they're playing. Cleary potentially against the Storm, but the Storm should be fired up. He shouldn't go that big. I don't know. It's a tricky one, honestly. Ponga is definitely captain or vice captain. It's just a matter of if or which one. And then it's out of Latrell or Cleary, I think. I mean, obviously, even fucking Marju. We can't do Marju and Ponga, obviously, though. But Clockstad against the Titans, that's very nice. Potential vice. Yeah, there's some good options, but I think that's what we're leaning towards, the captain, vice captain, and also if we maybe just go Dallin over Marju, but I don't know. I just prefer Marju's just solidness over Dallin. I think Dallin showed the week before the bye, he got a try with a line break and he scored 48 points. So that's the worry with Dallin. He doesn't have the base of Marju. So if the game gets into a bit of a grind, which it could do, you wouldn't expect it to, for the Warriors in the next few weeks against the teams they're versing, but it could. It definitely could. You never know. Stranger things have happened. But we'll see. But overall, I mean, the team is looking stacked, and I just want a fucking week where everyone just goes at least good to great. You know, I feel like the weeks where we've gone really good, we've still had a couple and even a few players go like well below their average or predicted. I just want a week where everybody goes to their potential and then goes massive. I know I'm asking for a lot, but I would just like one big week, you know, just one good week to just catapult me into like, you know, the top echelon. But we're being a bit greedy, and that's fine. But yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. Hopefully, guys are enjoying the Supercoach action. Not too much else to talk about. Like I said, one trade left. I'll talk about that quickly because again, the one trade left. We're obviously just going to hold it to see if there's an injury or a resting, I guess, for the final round. But any other player that I'd want to bring in, I mean, I guess, like, yeah, I don't know. Not really. I mean, if we could have gone Dallin, I guess, next week, but who would you trade out? Probably Manu, maybe. He'd be the only guy that would have the price to get him in, potentially. Even like a Tino, but he's going to be too expensive. That's why having the 100k is like okay, but yeah, I think we just ride it out. Wait for a potential injury, resting. But yeah, hopefully guys are enjoying. Make sure to like and comments, and I'll see you in the next one.